So after opening the Trammel toy in the Onshape, here's what we've got. We're going to take a look in this particular video at the upper right block and just kind of figure out what is happening right there. So one of the tools that we learned about in other CAD programs was just doing a section view. So I'm going to right click on the side that I want to do a section view on. So I right click and I'm going to choose section view. So I'll go here and I'm just going to kind of drag that in. And what I'm looking for, just any irregularities. And right there, I'm already finding one. It looks like this slider block is square here versus the block I'm trying to fix is actually rounded. So I'm going to need to do something about that. Let's keep dragging back here. It looks like in here we've got a hole in the block, but the bolt is actually back here, isn't it? That's an issue. And when I scan back through the rest of the block, I don't really see anything else. However, it's pretty glaring as soon as we open this thing up that we have an issue going on right here, right? That block should be even with that edge, and it's just not. Let's figure out what we can do. Now, here's something else. We can actually unjoint or unmate this block if we want. If we scroll down, I've kind of named these different blocks. So UR to plate, upper right to plate, that's the one we're dealing with. But quite honestly, we don't need to do that in this situation. Sometimes some people find it easier to do that though, because then they can line up the edges to each other. Let's kind of take a look here. Okay, so I know that I'm dealing with the upper right block, so I'm actually going to go over here to the browser area and double click on it. And that allows me, I don't know if you noticed, but down here at the bottom, it went from assembly to the part studio. So now I can edit just that part. Well, I can edit any part really, but this allows me to have access to the sketches and everything. So this first sketch doesn't look to be like anything I need to do. It looks like the bottom of it, and honestly, it's the right size. We just need to move a few things around. Like this piece right here is going to have to come down a little bit. We know that we needed to move that bolt hole, and we also needed to take care and get rid of that fillet, right? So we're looking for particular sketches here. There's a fillet, right? And then if we look, here's another fillet, and that actually is the fillet on this block. So real quick, just to get some immediate success, right click here on fillet 4, and let's just say delete. Give it a second, and it'll go ahead and knock that off. So we fixed one problem already. Okay, let's get into something that's a little more detailed now though. This boss right here, that's what we would call something like this, that needs to be changed. So we got to kind of dig through here and just see where that might be. So maybe sketch 21. Do you see how it kind of lit up over here? Watch this area. And I'm going to kind of just run my mouse over sketch 21. I'm going to right click on sketch 21 and say edit. And let's kind of, use our square up tools here. So I'm going to just kind of zoom in here. It looks like it's 0.5, and it looks like that needs to grow some. So I need to push it down this way. I'm going to double click on this 0.5. I'm going to double click, and let's change it to 0.75 and see what happens. Oh wow, that moved perfectly, didn't it? So now I'll hit the green check mark here, and that's where it's supposed to be. Okay. Before we go too far though, let's go ahead and say let's go to assembly. Let's check out and see the changes we've made so far. So far we're looking really good, aren't we? We've got that exactly where it's supposed to be now. We've gotten rid of that fillet. Let's redo that section view, right? So I'm going to right click on this side and say section view. I'm just going to kind of make a scoot back here. Okay, doing perfect. Now that bolt hole, right? That's kind of messy there because the hole is there and then we don't get to the bolt until there. We'll go back over here because remember, we're back in assembly now. We need to get back in our part studio. So I'll just double click over here on the upper right corner block and that'll take us back to where we need to be. So let's see what's going on here. Now, it's really hard to get to that. So what I may do here is I may actually turn the visibility of these base pieces off so I can actually see the bottom of that. I can also turn the visibility of the base bottom off down here because remember in a part studio, all the parts are listed here. So base bottom, let's turn that off. Now let's turn the base top off. And now we have this piece again. So what we're looking now, we're looking for this sketch where that hole goes in. So let's kind of look down, and usually if it's a hole, like there's the actual hole, but the hole looks to be the right diameter. The place we need to go to is the sketch before, sketch 22. In Onshape, what they do is they put a point down, and then they put the hole where the point was. So we're actually going to go to sketch 22 here, and we're going to say edit. Okay, now we can see where they put the point. Let's square this thing up. So let's, click bottom over here. And really what we're up to here is we got to line this hole up in the center of that. So let's see here. It's 1.25 here. Let's double click on that. And I think let's change it to 1.375. Yeah, that puts that dot where it would be in the middle. Now the 0.625 obviously needs to make a change. Let's double click that. And let's change it to 0.875. And look at that. It's right there in the middle. That's exactly where we want it to be. So before we go back to our assembly, though, that's exactly where we want it to be. So we're going to click this green check mark. That's going to move it over. And now that hole is exactly where it's supposed to be. So let's go ahead and let's go back to our assembly now. We can see our upper right block is up here. Everything's lined up. So let's go ahead now and let's turn the visibility of these two base pieces on. So they're back on. Now if we look at this, let's use our analysis tool, right? So right click here, say section view, and let's just kind of drag it on back through there. I think we look good. Our holes line up. We fixed the fillet here. We even fixed the edge over here so that it's lined up, right? So we did a pretty nice job. So we'll go ahead and fix the section view out and exit. And there, we've got everything correct on the upper right block.